Okay. So we're going to be spending the second half of tonight's chat finishing talking about getting ready for my tooth pulling tomorrow, but we had several people who ended up needing last week's chat. So come to find out, I wasn't the only person in our Tuesday workshop who was getting a tooth pulled this week, or within a week. Alex had one of her teeth pulled, and bless her heart, she had something, I guess she had a filling in this tooth. That didn't work. She ended up with a root canal. That didn't work. She had like at least one failed root canal. I don't remember if it was one or two. And so they finally pulled it, and I think she's on day 4. And the night before she had her tooth pulled, she popped into our Tuesday night meeting. So during our Tuesday night in-person meeting last week, she popped in, weighed in, chatted with Gwen, then she stopped by and she said, I need that soft foods list, because Casey had not posted last week's chat yet, and she needed it because she was having one of her teeth pulled the next day. And both of us are in the same situation. It's a molar. So it's a chewing tooth, so we both kind of needed this soft foods list. We've got somebody with MS who needed the list. We had somebody who's getting ready to have their, I don't remember what the procedure is called. And if you're here, you can let me know, but it's where they stretch your throat. My mother had it done a couple of times. Don't remember what it was called. But I know when she was having that issue, she definitely needed some softer foods to eat, some easier to chew. Things that were pre-chewed, to get down. A couple of people that were having surgery. Just some things. Oh, a car wreck. Anyway, so several people who needed this softer food list. So hopefully those of you who needed it were able to use it. Alex is doing well. She did message me at the 72-hour mark and told me the best piece of advice she gave me, I think, is make sure that I have an ice pack. Had not even thought of that, so thank you, Alex. I do have a little ice pack at home. Of course, I've got some frozen vegetables that I can use, if I need to. Okay, so tomorrow's the big day. I am having this molar pulled, so I've continued to prep the rest of the week. Last week, we did soft foods last week. We talked about some soft foods last week. We're going to talk more about soft foods this week. This doesn't have to be just for soft foods, okay? So this could be just all of these have been kind of comforting too, if that makes any sense. So, might just be a good thing to keep in your, in your repertoire. It's been some, okay. So Debbie said frozen peas work great, because the package will conform to my face. Perfect. I've got a bag of frozen peas and carrots. That'll be perfect. I will definitely do that, Debbie. But we talked about it a lot last week. And I did eat softer foods last week just because I was afraid to agitate or aggravate this. I 100% know exactly when this happened for the second or third time, because I've been avoiding dealing with this tooth for a couple of years now. But I normally chew harder things on this side of my face, and I bit into an almond on this side, and boom, I knew immediately when it happened. So I've been eating all soft stuff this last week, trying to let that antibiotic work, trying not to re-aggravate it, and the countdown is on. I am, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 1, 2, 6, 7, 8, 9, 11 hours, 11 and a half hours, I think, from go time. And yes, Loretta. So I'm 11 and a half hours from go time to having this done. And so definitely eating soft food all week helped. I'm confident that it did. And Vicky, yeah, I know. It's done now. It's done. So it's just gonna have to go. Okay, so last week we spent some time talking about, hold on a second. Carol Lou says they might give me an ice pack. She got the one that wrapped around her head and Velcroed at the top of her head. Good to know. Okay. I don't think I'm stopping to get one now, but we'll see. We'll see how that goes. But that is also a great idea. Maybe I can rig something up with the frozen peas and tie, I don't know. I have a headband. I could put a headband around my head and put that on there. Yeah. And Debbie just reminded me, it's called an esophageal dilation. Yes. So we had a couple people having that done, and my mom also had that done. And soft foods were definitely, on that high on that list. Okay. So last week, I went through a whole list of foods that I was either going to be prepping or had purchased or whatever. And I just wanted to remind you all by showing you over here is my little cubby. So I can close those doors so people in the showroom can't see it, but that is my little cubby of easy things. So the things that we went over last week that are going to be easy, low prep, but don't have to be frozen. They're not perishable. They're, long shelf life. So if I don't end up eating them right now, I mean, I've got enough food planned that if I have to eat soft things for like 8 days, I'm good to go. Okay. I'm not thinking that it's going to have to be this soft for that long, but better to be prepared. So that's all the things that we talked about last week. Oh gosh, Sarah says she tried the pudding recipe and it did not work with the Premier Protein. Well, that stinks. It worked fantastically with the Fairlife protein shake. Okay, I'll tell you about that again here in just a second. But these are all the easy things. And so I do have, dude, that was too fast. Okay, I know y'all heard that. So I do have some more Fairlife protein shakes over here. I've got my mashed potatoes. I've got my SpaghettiOs. I've got microwavable mac and cheese. I've just got, I've got some very, very soft things in there. And Sarah, I feel like maybe something did go wrong. Okay, so things though that I've already prepped ahead. So I've got all of that. So I have all of that ready to go just in case I need it. I do have yogurt in the refrigerator. I've got already flavored yogurt in the refrigerator. I've got some already pre-made applesauces and things like that. So some softer things, but it's all, Debbie, did it not? That guy was going Debbie said, sound like you were at Daytona Speedway. Yeah, that guy was going way too fast for all of us to be able to hear it. Anyway, okay. So all of that easy stuff is already there. It's at the ready. I have no excuses for not having something ready to eat. Okay. The other things that I've already prepared, I've already prepped them, prepared. They are ready to go. My secret recipe scrambled eggs, those are already done. Those are super easy to make, super fluffy. I love them. I love them. Oh, wait a minute. Let's see. Trish says, be cautious sipping on hot soup or coffee because I don't want to get a dry socket. Yeah, I'm not doing anything. I'm not doing anything super hot. And Sarah says, where is Dusty? He's asleep. Do not wake him up, Sarah. Okay. Yes. And I have been super careful, Trish, this whole week leading up to this to not eat anything that's really, really hot or really, really cold. I've been remember that, the Goldilocks and the Three Bears thing I was talking about last week. I've been working on, it's just right. So I'm going to continue that this week. So again, things that I've already got prepped, ready to go. First one was secret recipe scrambled eggs. I don't know why I didn't think of scrambled eggs that first week. I love them. They're high in protein, 0 points, so yummy. So I went ahead and prepped those, and I've got them in individual containers in the freezer, ready to go. And you know what? I love scrambled eggs so much. If I don't eat them all, it's okay. It is okay because I will have, Trish is in the kitchen prepping her stuff for Tuesday, and she's got cottage cheese. Cottage cheese is not going to happen for me, but good luck, Trish. And remind us all again what you're having done. So Trish is one of my, like, we don't need to be twins, but we're accidentally being twins buddies. But the secret recipe scrambled eggs, super easy, super fluffy. They are so fluffy. It's ridiculous. Those are already on the If You Have an Egg blog. So that's www.ifyouhaveanegg.com. And if you go to that search bar and if you just put in secret recipe, you'll get a couple of secret recipe things. But the scrambled eggs, highly, highly recommend, even if you don't need to be on a soft food diet. Second thing I have prepped and ready is baked tofu, but I did not season it. I didn't put any extra seasoning on it this time. That recipe is also already on IfYouHaveAnEgg.com. I didn't put any particular seasoning on it though, just in case I needed to throw it in with whatever to make it happen. And so baked tofu, no extra seasoning, it's just kind of plain tofu, because tofu is one of those things that it will take on the flavor of whatever else you're putting it with. So I did not pre-season it so that I can, pair it with several different things. I did go ahead and make some of the double chocolate protein pudding, and Sarah, again on the, because Sarah's turned out kind of watery, on that, I did not use Premier Protein. I used the Fairlife protein shake, and this is different than the Fairlife. Is it called Core Power? I've been buying that and using that. Yes, Jonna says the baked tofu is the best. Yeah. And Sarah, it's okay. But I use the Fairlife protein shake. I have not tried it with Premier Protein, but it was 1 bottle of this, which I think ended up being 1.5 cups. And then it was 2 tablespoons of sugar-free Jell-O instant pudding. So Sarah, my first question is, did you get the one that just says Jell-O sugar, fat-free, whatever? Did you get that kind? Or did you get the kind that says quick cook? So, and yeah, you can always go back and add some more pudding. So Debbie said maybe not enough pudding, and that's a true fact. But so you got this kind. Okay, I just wanted to make sure that you didn't accidentally get the kind that you have to cook, because if you have to cook it, it will not work in this recipe. Okay, so this kind, and then 2, generous tablespoons of the pudding mix. But if it doesn't turn out right, just add a little bit more. I don't know if you remember or not, but when I made it with the oat milk, like my mom makes it, I had to add an extra spoonful of this, because in the oat milk it really won't set up. It doesn't like to set up anyway, but it won't set up unless you have extra Jell-O in there. But again, Sarah and everybody else, just make sure that you have this kind, the instant kind, and not the kind that you have to cook. But that is one thing that I have a couple of those ready. So I figure, hey, if I'm in pain or uncomfortable or whatever, chocolate pudding always makes everybody feel good. And because it has a protein shake in it, have been making one of these into 2 servings, and so that means that my pudding is 15 grams of protein. So that's another thing. You got to keep up your strength. You got to keep it up. So everything I'm going to tell you, not everything, a lot of the things I'm going to tell you have extra protein or have a lot of protein in them, just to make sure that I'm not just sitting around eating, popsicles and I don't know, whatever. Okay, so secret recipe scrambled eggs, high in protein, baked tofu, high in protein, double chocolate protein pudding, you guessed it, high in protein. Also, last week we made mashed sweet potatoes. If y'all remember that, the mashed sweet potatoes were in the freezer. I put them in the 1 cup super cubes and put those in the freezer. Those are ready to go. But I'm gonna show you, and I'll show you what I'm going to do with those here in just a second. Baked apples. I did go ahead and make some of the apple crisp, and let's see, Marion, the pudding, it ended up being 2. This whole container is 3 points, but with the addition of the pudding and then dividing it into 2, it made it 2 points per serving for this kind. And I guess I do need to eventually post that as a recipe so that you all will have it. But the mashed sweet potatoes in the freezer in 1 cup super cube increments. I made the baked apple crisp like we made a couple of weeks ago. That was soft enough in the Instant Pot. I don't know if y'all remember this or not, but when we made the apple crisp in the air fryer versus the Instant Pot, I said the apples were, I was like, gosh, they're kind of mushy. Why would you, whatever. This is why. So the baked apples that I cored, sliced up, and made in the Instant Pot, I did not put the crisp on top of it because remember, it needs to be really soft. That was perfect in the Instant Pot. So if you go back a couple of weeks and look up the baked apple crisp, that in the Instant Pot was perfect. It's the perfect consistency. Okay, so those are already made in the freezer. The polenta that I made a couple of weeks ago in the Instant Pot, already in the freezer, ready to go. And today I made cream cheese sausage balls, because I thought, and oh yeah, Sarah says the ready-made Jell-O pudding sugar-free cups are good. They're only 2 points, but they don't have as much protein. That's exactly right, Sarah. And I do normally keep those, but because I'm not going to be getting protein in a lot of other ways, while I'm just eating this soft food, I'm going to make those just to make sure I have enough protein. But I went ahead today and made a batch of cream cheese sausage balls. These will not be until after, chew a little bit again, but I was thinking, you know, I can't just eat. I don't want to get bored while I'm doing this, because then I know me, I'm going to start hunting for other things, and then other things are going to turn into, that's exactly right, Sarah, and then other things are going to turn into ice cream, you know? So, so I just tried to make a few things while I was prepping ahead. Let me make sure I'm not, okay, yeah, I'm not talking too much. Try to make a few things ahead that would be comfort food, that would be lower in points, that would still have a lot of protein, that I can freeze and keep ahead. And again, if I don't eat them now, not a problem. I will eat them later. As a matter of fact, I've already got 3 sausage balls planned for eating tomorrow, before I go have my surgery, just because I love them so much. But these are in these cool, reusable, BPA-free, no weird stuff, whatever, freezer bags, and these are gallon freezer bags. And let's see, wait a minute. Debbie says you can also make it with Fairlife, with regular Fairlife milk, pudding mix, and protein powder. What kind of protein powder do you use when you do that, Debbie? Just out of curiosity, what kind of protein drink, or yeah, what kind of protein powder? But these are, a couple of you all asked me about these. These are Larine. I think it's French. It's L''ERINE, so Larine. And they are airtight, leak-proof, eco-friendly, double-sealed, keep food fresh, food-grade material, and they're a home organization assistant. Quality assurance, they're BPA-free, recyclable, looks like they're good for the earth, eco non-governmental organization, an eco non-governmental organization benefits from your purchase. So, you know, of course I was on board, but I got a pack of these. I will, I'll post that link on, you know, here in the group from Amazon, so that you can find those. But I have loved these. All of the things that I prepped ahead that I put into the super cubes, those are all out of the super cubes now, and they are in their 1 cup or 2 cup. I don't think I made anything in a half a cup. So they're all in their 1 cup or 2 cup little blocks out of the super cubes in a bag like this in the freezer now. So again, prepped. Those things are prepped, ready to go. They are ready to go. And they're all things that if I don't eat them while, you know, while I'm doing this soft diet, perfectly fine, good food, delicious food that I can eat at another time. Okay. So that I don't run out of time, let me show you a couple of things that I have in process. So I'm going to say comfort food again. I'm having a tooth pull tomorrow. In case you didn't hear that 15 times already, I'm having a tooth pull tomorrow. I'm less frightened about having the tooth pulled than I am for the moments and day afterward, because I just really don't know what to expect. It has been, let's see, I was in high school the last time that I had a tooth pulled. And it was right before I got my braces, or maybe it was when I had my wisdom teeth pulled. Anyway, it's been more than 40 years since I've had teeth pulled. I really do not know what to expect, and I know the anticipation is probably worse than what's going to happen. But comfort, protein, comfort, protein, comfort. If you haven't heard me say protein and comfort 15 times already, then you've just not been listening. So everything that I've made has some amount or a lot of protein in it, and it also is something that I would consider a comfort food. Scrambled eggs, to me, that is a good old Saturday morning comfort food. So I made scrambled eggs. Pudding, comfort food. Sausage balls, definitely a comfort food. 2 of the other things, though, that I'm prepping, these are the last 2 things that I'm prepping before I actually go have it done. These are, I went ahead and pre-made 4 little overnight oat jars, but I want you to know the fruit is not in here, and I'm going to freeze these. So I did not realize that you could freeze overnight oats. So I have pre-made these. I will not be eating these in the first day or 2, because one caution that I was given was not to eat the rice that I have sitting in there, or oatmeal, oats, or something small like that that could get stuck in there the first couple of days. So these will be going in the freezer, but I wanted to have them ready because I don't know, just anticipate that I'm not going to feel like making them. So I went ahead and prepped these. I'm going to put them in the freezer. These are literally just non-fat plain Greek yogurt, oat milk, banana cream, more Jello pudding. I'm telling y'all, I have, and if you haven't been following me for a while and you don't know, I have an entire drawer. It's a little short drawer and they're laying flat, but I have an entire drawer of assorted Jello flavorings. They really should sponsor me or something. You know, y'all should all contact Jello and tell them that they should sponsor me because I use so much Jello. But this is Jello banana cream, so it's sugar-free, fat-free banana Jello pudding mix. And so this is oats, and you can go to IfYouHaveAnEgg.com and find one of my overnight oats recipes and just copy it, but switch out banana cream. It's got a little bit of chia seeds in it. It has oat milk in it, non-fat plain Greek yogurt. I've got all that mixed together and ready to go, and these are going to go in the freezer so that when I'm ready, I can just take one out, let it thaw out a little bit. You could heat it up in the microwave after you take the metal lid off and carefully heat it in the microwave. And then I can slice a banana on top, and I can have a very protein filled, because remember, it's got non-fat plain Greek yogurt in it, which is super high in protein. So high protein, comfort food. It's gonna be like, it's not just like banana pudding, it's great for banana. Yeah, see, and Debbie says stay away from chia seeds. So that's why I'm thinking this is probably like a day 3 or 4, food to eat, but I want to have it ready. Okay, so that's one of the last things that I'm prepping. So those are prepped. They're going into the freezer tonight. They've been sitting in the refrigerator, letting them, expand so that they can be like overnight oats. They get bigger, they expand. But I will be putting those in the freezer and not bringing them out, until we're a few days into this. Also, tomorrow morning, I'll be using the silken tofu that I showed you all last week. Silken tofu, some blueberries, and some pistachio pudding, and I'm going to be making smoothies. So this is, again, another high protein. Let's just look since I have it out here in front of me. So each serving has 4 grams of protein. You can have, the blueberries actually have protein in them, but it's going to be blueberry, silken tofu, blueberries, pistachio and blueberries taste good, believe it or not. Gonna get all that in a little bit of honey and a little bit of vanilla flavoring, and that's gonna be made. That's the last thing I'm making tomorrow morning before I go into the pliers or whatever they're gonna be using. Gonna make those, put those also in the freezer for for that next couple of days, and have those ready to drink. Because no drinking through a straw. So I'm trying to make some thicker things too that I can eat with a spoon when I'm ready. Okay, we only have like 7 minutes left, so let me tell you a couple of other things that if you need to be able to do this, if you're having dental surgery, if you're having any other kind of surgery that involves your mouth, your throat, anything where you've got to eat some soft foods, if you've had a stroke, or if you know somebody that's had a stroke, if you've had the esophageal, and I've already forgotten what it's called, Debbie, but the esophageal thing, if you're getting ready to have that, any issues where you need to be able to eat soft food for a few days, a few weeks, or for the rest of your life, I hope that does not happen to you. But a few things that that would be helpful if you had to be able to prep all this stuff. A food processor would be handy. If you don't have a food processor, if you happen to have an immersion blender, if you had one and you didn't realize you had it, because like my mom she talked me into this, I don't know, 20 something years ago, and I'm not gonna lie, it sat in my cabinet for probably 15 of those 20 years, okay? But the immersion blender, that has been uber helpful. That is what I made all the pudding with. That's what I'm making the smoothies with. Super helpful. So a food processor or an immersion blender or a regular blender, that would be super helpful. The Instant Pot has been invaluable. Finally found something it was good for. It has been invaluable in making some of these things that I needed to prep and get ready. Or if you had like a slow cooker. But I'm telling you, those sweet potatoes made in the Instant Pot, perfection. I will never, never, ever, never, ever boil potatoes on the stove again for any kind of mashed potatoes Instant Pot, you won me on that one. Okay. Good night, Kim. A microwave. Some of the easy things that I bought, I'm gonna need a microwave for those. The freezer bags, these, having this stuff already done, like in the super cubes, in the individual servings, or like the tofu is in a bag like this and it's just loose because I can kind of break it apart before I heat it up. Sausage balls obviously can do the same thing, but some of those other things like the mashed sweet potatoes, the apples or applesauce, it's more like an applesauce consistency. Being in those individual little blocks and then putting them in something like this has saved so much room in our freezer because it says here at work. But that's been a lifesaver. This little crock pot, this little tiny crock pot, I did not know that I was going to be using it for this event, but I have a little teeny tiny, look at this thing. Look how cute it is. This little teeny tiny crock pot that if I'm ready to make the sweet potatoes, if I want to heat them up, I can just come in that morning, I can put them in a little tiny crock pot and they will be ready to eat when I am ready to eat. Yeah, so we'll talk more about the little tiny crock pot next week after I've played with it some more. But yeah, that little crock pot is a great thing. Also, please, please, please do not forget, this is also an opportunity to hashtag bulk it up. I don't know if you noticed or not, but there's not a lot of vegetables in these things that I'm making, okay? So some opportunities to hashtag bulk it up. One thing that I'm definitely going to do in these potatoes, and I already tried this and it worked so well. Sorry about that, I just kicked something over. It worked so well that I did this twice this week. And Carol Lou has one of these. I used this twice. I did this twice this week just in preparation and to make sure that it was as soft as I thought it was going to be, that it was as easy to make. But I took the instant mashed potatoes that I had that we talked about last week, and these are 4 or 5 points for one of these, depending on which flavor it was. But I took this, and instead of using water, I used bone broth. And I bought bone broth in these little cartons, and then I also bought some that's in individual little individual sleeves or whatever. So, ooh, and Trish has one too. She uses one of those little crock pots too, and she uses it to heat up her breakfast every day. See, those scrambled eggs would be perfect heated up in that. But this, and then I used the bone broth instead of water in here. So this brand of bone broth that's called Bare Bones, it adds 20 grams of protein if you use 1 cup. With this as the water, the bone broth as the water, and then after it's all heated up, and mix in some nutritional yeast and some non-fat plain Greek yogurt. It is, you can put a little bit of sprinkle of cheese and melt it in there if you wanted to. It is like loaded. It's like a loaded baked potato, but in mashed potato form. So good. And using the bone broth, and between the bone broth and the nutritional yeast, I added between 10 and 15, because I didn't use a whole cup, but I added between 10 and 15 grams of protein to mashed potatoes, okay, to instant mashed potatoes, and they were stinking delicious, and people were jealous, okay? So that's a good way to hashtag bulk it up. Also, I forgot to get them out, but the riced veggies that I got last week, I got riced cauliflower, and then I think I got a riced cauliflower broccoli blend. I went ahead and prepped some of my fat-free cream cheese, and the fat-free cream cheese is already on the blog. It's www.ifyouhaveanegg.com, and I'll show you on there how to make your own fat-free cream cheese out of non-fat plain Greek yogurt. But the riced veggies with the fat-free cream cheese and some Velveeta cheese, heated up again. Just gonna heat them up, put them in the little crock pot and let them sit and warm up all day, and it will be a cheesy vegetable. No, that's not for day one, okay? Because I don't want those little riced vegetables in my, little spot. But I'm figuring a couple of days in, and I'm gonna need something different. The riced cauliflower and riced broccoli with the fat-free cream cheese and some Velveeta heated up in my little crock pot. It's going to be perfect. It's going to be a perfect cheesy broccoli cauliflower mix for lunch one day. But don't forget about hashtag bulking it up. You can add so many things to these things to bulk them up, to add more protein, to add some fiber, to add some other things. Okay, so I've talked my head off. I've talked your head off. Tomorrow's the big day. so happy that I prepped all this stuff so I don't have to worry about it. I don't have to call anybody and go, I don't have anything to eat. I can't eat anything. Just bring me ice cream or bring me a milkshake or a Frosty or something. So I'm so excited, so happy that I took the time to, to prep all this and get it ready. Super excited. I'm super excited that it's all things that I can eat after, just in case I don't eat all of them. But I hope you all had a fantastic evening. I hope you enjoyed this and you got some idea for something. And yeah, if you're watching this on YouTube, please let that next video roll over. Go ahead and click that little subscribe button. I would appreciate it so much. And I will try to check in with you all when I get done, just to let you know how everything went. So y'all have a fantastic evening. I'll try to talk to you tomorrow. And hello, Anna. I didn't see you earlier. I will try to talk to you all tomorrow, or not talk, but I'll try to check in with you tomorrow and let you know how it's going. But have a good evening, and I'll see you later. Good night.